More now from the next gear on podtech.net. Matt Kelly once again at the Willow Springs International Raceway in Rosamond, California. I'm again joined by Dr. Jamie Meyer. He is Product Integration Manager for GM Performance Parts. And Jamie, we're standing in front of another icon, the '70 Chevelle SS.
Yeah, you know, this is an icon in more ways than one at Performance Parts. This is actually our oldest test vehicle, and this car's been in the fleet for well over 25 years. So this car has had several of our crate engines in it, from small blocks to aluminum-headed small blocks. The last engine it had was a ZL1, all aluminum big block, and right now it's got a ZZ 572 620 horse. And 1970 Chevelle SS convertibles are getting pretty rare and very, very valuable, but this thing is considered our test car, believe it or not. Now, it looks really nice, and the last time we redid it was for a Rides episode, and Bill Martins was a manager on that project, but the car just came out absolutely spectacular.
Talk to me a little bit about GM Performance Parts and its mission and what the goal of the company is in trying to extend performance of automobiles and the parts that make them up.
Sure, Matt. You know, since 1967, GM Performance Parts has been in existence, and our role has been to provide premium crate engines for all sorts of automotive enthusiasts.
And as we again take a look at this '70 Chevelle SS, it's just an absolute gorgeous car that's gone through many makeovers during its lifetime.
Yeah, this car right now has a really modern suspension, which helps it a lot. It's a heavy car, and it's got the big block up front, but it handles surprisingly well. I know you guys are going to take this thing for a ride a little bit later. You're going to love it. Top down, black leather interior, 620 horse, and I tell people this, but they don't realize it until they drive a big block car. But there is nothing like the torque of an American big block V8 to get the juices flowing.
Well, Jamie, let's go for a ride in this absolutely gorgeous car, the 1970 Chevelle SS.
Really light steering for a car that weighs so much and has such a big engine. It's got some Hotchkiss suspension components on it, very modern suspension, new tires, bigger rims, of course. Very nimble for a car that weighs, well over 4,000 pounds. It's a nice sound, big block sound. This is a GM Performance Parts ZZ 572 620 horse version, so it's a pump gas, big block crate engine. It's really hot out here today. The car runs fine. Well, we're riding a 1970 Chevelle SS. If you started a list of the top 10 muscle cars ever built, a 1970 Chevelle SS would be on that list, and the reason is really simple. In 1970, you could order one of these cars with a big block called the LS6. It's a 454 cubic inch big block that, severely underrated. A thing probably made well over 500 horsepower. And this car is even more rare. It's a convertible top version, and this particular car has been with GM Performance Parts for a couple decades just as a test mule, which was actually saved from the scrapyard several times, which is really amazing when you look at the car and you think about the history of what a 1970 Chevelle is all about. But we've had several different versions of our crate engines in this car. The last go around was a really rare ZL1 427 big block, and right now it's got a ZZ 572, and we've used this car to evaluate that big block line of crate engines. And as you drive this car, it's got some rattles, it's got some squeaks, you can see some body panels moving around when you hit a bump. But that's just part of the allure of this car. It's just a time machine. It takes you back to 1970, and it is pure muscle car in all that it is. This is certainly a little slice of Americana. This car's been updated. It's got a much more modern suspension to it. Much bigger tires. When these cars rolled off the assembly line, when they were stock, they would have ridiculous little 7-inch wide tires, and that was just kind of a joke because people knew what was going to happen to these cars. They were going to have slicks put on them. They were going to have open headers put on them, and people were going to race them. you know, and this thing is still a big block, and this is why you want a big block muscle car right here. I mean, this thing gets to 100 miles an hour like you can't believe, and it's like you're probably rolling 4,500 pounds of iron down the road. You know, we've done a few modern things to it, but really this is a pure American car, just like you'd have them in 1970. And I just can't get out of that throttle. I love it. This car's very stable. You know, think about what we're doing. This is an absolute brick wall compared to today's aerodynamic cars. This cruises on the road 80 miles an hour like nothing. I don't know. There you go. That's a 1970 Chevelle SS convertible. One of the coolest cars you can ever drive.